Sorry, I didn't mention my name. My name is Rajiv Khurana. I'm a management consultant and writer.
Thank you. Thanks, Rajiv. Would like to go? Yeah, anybody? Yeah. Please.
Well, I'm the only panelist who will agree with you wholeheartedly about Jugaad. So, anyways, I think you raised a very interesting point about the role of government, academia, business, and consulting as far as leapfrogging India for manufacturing. Clearly again, I think we need to just separate out for a second the manufacturing and design innovation. I think we're really getting it mixed up. There's no dearth of design innovation in India. There's a lot of talk going on. We should really have intellectual property developed in India. And trust me, every single big company is doing tremendous amount of design work. The TIs of the world, the Intels of the world, the STs of the world, they have huge workforces here, at least in my field, doing tremendous amount of design activity. So it's not about design innovation. We Indians understand that piece, and we are doing tremendous amount of work. Now take out the manufacturing and then address the four aspects which have been talked about: the government, the academia, business, and consulting. First and foremost, I think we should, before we really start thumping the desk and asking the government for really sorting out all our problems, we should start really looking inward as to what we can do to really address some of these issues. I think one of the big things about us, again, is that for every little thing we run to the government before fixing our house. Most of the problems which we face are immensely fixable in-house, essentially. If you talk about the workforce, for my industry, there is a specific need, specific type of activity which we need the workforce to perform. Even the workforce which we get from the ITIs, the diploma holders, the engineers, we need to really bring them and spend enormous amount of time for the activity which we want them to perform, right? So despite the fact we will all clamor and say, guys, we need more engineers and employability is an issue and so on and so forth, irrespective of that, it is incumbent upon companies who are into manufacturing to really develop the capability which we need for our own industry. No one else can help that. No college is going to really help in terms of developing a workforce which is needed for me in my manufacturing sector, just to give you an example. So before, the initiative has to be predominantly on the businesses in order to drive what is needed as far as the workforce is concerned, which addresses the academia. We're not expecting, by the way, again, this is manufacturing is a dumbed down version of really, doing basic stuff. So we're not talking of really huge caliber of, engineers, BTechs and so on, PhDs to really come and work on the shop floor. But whatever is needed is required to be developed as per what we need, and therefore there is a very significant engagement of the business itself. In terms of consulting, absolutely. We talked about process innovation, and that's one area, I think, where India can really leapfrog. If you ask me where the differentiation is going to come from, it's people innovation and process innovation. Those are the two big areas, specifically in manufacturing. Again, I'm not talking of design innovation. Specifically in dumbed down manufacturing, those are the two areas where the innovation is going to really help us leapfrog, whether Germany or China. So that's where we see, and the business has to really push both those areas internally.
Thank you very much. Any other panelists would like to add to this question? Yeah, please.
I think this is, as a young person in the society, I always think about these issues, and one of the things is that as Indians, first I think we need to start valuing time, respecting time. Everything that we see around us, it takes so long to take a decision, and then we expect things to happen very quickly. We don't respect engineering. We don't respect that everything that needs to be built needs a good design, needs good process, and that is what should be given time rather than the time to take a decision. In India, we have long time to take a decision, and a short time we expect through Jugaad things to happen. So I think valuing time is one thing. Second is following discipline and process everywhere, whether it's government, anywhere, we have to follow good process. Another thing is very important is that we need to solve the problems of our society and not the problems of the world. Many of us are, it's a fashion or it's an aspiration to, we are very willing to send a shuttle on the moon, but solving a simple road that heads, to our work is not a solvable problem for us. So we need to start focusing on the problems that day to day our society, our people are facing. And another last one is that I think we have to start believing that if at all anybody can help India, is we Indians can help India. We have to stop looking outward and say that somebody else will solve our problem or somebody else will do something for us. So we have to start doing things for ourselves and believe that we Indians can solve our problems. Today the situation is our government doesn't believe us. They don't believe an Indian entrepreneur. They don't believe anybody in India. If something is coming from abroad, it is given preference. So as a society also, it's not just the government. As a society, we don't do respect to our own efforts. So we need to do that, I think, in totality. And that's the only way we can, create respect for our own society and the manufacturing.
Thank you very much. We'll take one more question there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. First of all, thanks for some excellent thought-provoking ideas. In fact, very nice that Vikram ended on that, and my question is exactly linked to that. I have a statement to make, and I will seek reactions from you. You see, Jugaad has its positives and negatives. To my mind, what has happened, why Jugaad has come to get a negative connotation is that, the original definition of by the people, for the people, of the people of Lincoln has been modified very conveniently by BU by the people, OFF the people, and FAR the people. Now that's where, Jugaad goes negative. If we are focused on the ethical side of Jugaad, I mean the triple bottom line for instance, if we are worried about the planet, then the people, and then the, the profits, then I think Jugaad is an excellent thing. Because at the end of the day, all innovations has to start with a Jugaad, breaking, redoing this, that, and the other. And processes will come when we realize, okay, this is a wonderful end product. The process is creativity. The end result is innovation. If we find that the innovation is worthwhile, then we create a process so that it's not diluted. That would be my way of looking at, the Jugaad concept. So I would like the panelists to react to that. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Would like to, Mr. Doli, reaction?
I think that there continues to be some confusion around all of that. There's some discussion of innovation, and when you need to scale production, it's all about processes. It's not about iterative innovation. You don't. If your assembly line works well, then experimentation and risk-taking and promoting failure on a well-working assembly line just doesn't make sense. And I think we need to separate those two things. I think there's a lot of innovation in India. I agree there's not enough processes in India. I really think that the solutions to all of this is, the previous person in the audience asked the question, what should the government do, what should academia do, and businesses and consultants? My thinking on all of those was forget the other three, the government should just get out of the way. Eliminate the processes that exist in the bureaucracy and let the industry come up with their own processes to move their businesses forward. I'm not sure I fully understood what your question was, but we seem to get this concept of Jugaad mixed as to what the intended purpose is.
Thank you very much. We'll take one last point or thought or question from gentleman there. Yeah, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Mandar Phadke. I'm from Tal Manufacturing Solutions, Pune. My question is to panelists. It is regarding the MSME, because a lot of thrust has to go into MSME and development of MSME in order to make our industry more efficient. Is the large players or the OEMs are they willing to be a part of creating innovations or supporting MSMEs for innovation in order to make MSMEs competitive and at the same time getting advantages out of that?
That's an excellent question. And by the way, so just to tell you, if India has to become a very large manufacturing hub for domestic use or for international use, the success will lie how thriving its MSME segment is. You have to understand the big players like the Foxcons of the world, the Jables, the Flex, they will not go into manufacturing of products which are, sub $20, $30 kind of stuff, right? So there has to be a very thriving MSME for these large players to actually flourish in a country like India. I'll give you our experience. When we started off, we manufactured 25% of our set-top boxes in India, of almost about $850 million worth of revenue. We didn't have any supply chain here. For plastics, for anything, we were really dependent on countries like China and Taiwan to really import it. We put in money to develop the supply chain. We got companies to set up facilities in India, trained them, supported them in terms of funding, in terms of, giving them line of business. And that was one point which I made in my earlier, discussion here. The supply chain development is very, very critical. When I talk about supply chain, that's exactly the MSME segment which we are talking about. It's not for the big guys to go and ask for any, incentives from the government. It doesn't make sense, for a Foxconn or a Flex or a Jabil to say, I need, subsidized rates, subsidies for manufacturing. It is actually, unless the government gives subsidies to the MSME and props the MSME, all this talk about, becoming a manufacturing hub in India is going to be all talk. So clearly, for the success of very large-scale manufacturing, there has to be significant amount of effort done by way of policy, by way of, propping in terms of technology, in terms of hand-holding for funding. All that has to be focused on MSME segment.
Thank you very much. Ratan sir, you want to add something?
I think I would say for all that, the first thing that is required is discipline. Unfortunately, I'm a very proud Indian, but as Indians, we should know our weakness also. We just don't respect discipline. A friend of mine from Belgium, he came and he asked when he went back a question to his friends, can you tell me on which side of the roads the Indians drive? So one fellow said left. He said, no, it's wrong. So the obvious answer is right. He said, no, it is also wrong. He said, then where do they drive? He says, in the middle, whichever direction they get some place. We are indisciplined by nature. I think the first thing really to become the leaders in the world, we need to develop discipline. We need to develop self-faith. Forget, as you asked question about small SMEs being helped or not. भाई साहब अपने पे confidence रखिए, you do not need anybody's help. All these companies, where was Sony developed? Where was Toyota developed? And another faith, आप जितने भी देखिए डेवलपमेंट हुए, एप्पल का नाम ले लिए, जितने बड़े नाम हमारे तुल्ली साहब लेंगे, वो किसी ने ग्रेजुएशन की नहीं, रास्ते में छोड़ के आ गया. So I also felt गलती की हमने कि पढ़ लिए, ना पढ़ते तो शायद मैं भी एंटरप्रेन्योर हो जाता. एक उर्दू में बड़ी अच्छी कहावत है, ना पढ़ते तो खाते 100 तरह से कमा के, हुए हम तो निकम्मे तालीम पाके. We got ourselves got into some bracket. I think discipline is required in processes. We always fiddle with the process so often without understanding the root cause. I think the respect for process should come from the discipline, which we lack. I work as consultant to some companies. Suppose we pose a problem. By the time the problem is half defined, there are 3 people who are ready with the solution. We always say we are not looking for solution, we are looking for root cause. We just are impatient. Let's develop that. Let's develop that bad discipline in our character. And I think one thing which our culture has taught has to be changed. That is santosh. And we have understood santosh and faith totally in wrong way. We quote Gita without understanding Gita. Nowhere Lord Krishna said, Arjun, you go and sleep, I will fight for you. He didn't say. But we thought God's wish will be done. He said, "Bhai, I will take you there. जीत जाएगा तो राजा बनेगा, मर जाएगा तो we know where we take the dead bodies." I think we have to really understand our culture, but the big change we Indians require is discipline. Discipline for respecting the process, discipline for tackling the problems, and discipline. And the final thing, junoon hona chahiye, passion. Have that passion, my dear friends. You can do anything required in this world. Here is one company, CMM, they developed. I was dealing with that company, probably, Vikram, are you 40 years?
45 years.
45. I was dealing with this company when 40 years ago. So from where to where they have come? If they have developed a CMM, let's take the next challenge. And please create a burning boat. As we said, we only act when there is a fire. Please create fires all around. That junoon, that passion, that discipline will take us. And sir, believe me, we'll become the manufacturing hub of this country, this world.
Sure. Thank you very much, the panelists who will definitely make it happen. We have the young leaders who will make that happen with your wishes, with your guidance, everything. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the panelists for their insights, for the time being spent here, and also for encouraging the entire audience here. Once more, thanks a lot for the present audience and the interest and interaction that the entire audience has taken. So with that, let's conclude this discussion. We move on. We'll have tea served in the table, so we'll continue to the next discussion. And one more thing, I'll announce, I think in the morning also we talked about there's a lucky draw, so please continue and filling that. Who knows who would be lucky at the end of the day. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Vic.
Thank you.
Hope you're okay with tea being served on the table. We'll get more time to listen to the speakers and perhaps have more room for more questions. I'm Vishnu Priya Sharma. I'll take you through this last session. This is the session that is titled Beyond Product Innovation. We've spoken about product innovation. We looked at product performance. We've also touched upon words like business model innovation and process innovation at various points. This is a time when we look at what exactly does it mean for us to go beyond the product innovation. So we have four eminent speakers with us who will take us through topics like specifically how we can innovate through a business model, how can we leverage technology to innovate better, how do we look at a process innovation specifically on molding process, metal injection molding, and lastly, but perhaps something that is very important in the said context, how do we create innovative organizations? For the first speaker, I'd like to invite the first speaker who has a keen interest in reading books and writing poetry. He is instrumental in implementing improvement tools like Lean, Six Sigma, 5S, Kaizen, TPM, and making ground preparations for Deming Awards. Having started his professional journey with Kirloskar Oil Engines and moving on to organizations like LML, Shriram Bearings, Bajaj Motors, and playing the current role of a vice president in manufacturing, National Engineering Industries Limited. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jay Chandra Jha, who will speak to us about business model innovation in manufacturing industry.
BMI. Oh, no. Business model innovation. Good afternoon to all of you. Respective members sitting on dais, sisters and brothers. I am from manufacturing side, so whatever I will speak, it would be very practical because I have been instrumental in transforming the organization. I have written one book that is Panchas Ki Lehrein, which was published in 2005 by QCFI. That name of that book is Panchas Ki Lehrein. Today we need the attitudinal change. Everybody has talked in the first session, second session about the technical side innovation. But technical side innovation will come from the people side. We always focus on technical side. We less focus on people side. So basically, it is the human side quality outcome innovation. My topic is business model innovation. Now, what is business model innovation? Business model innovation provides the data, the logics, and other evidences that helps a business to find the way to create value, capture value, and deliver value to customers. It's all about the business of creation value, capturing value, and delivering value. This business model innovation helps in the time of turmoil and in the time of rapid economic growth. The robust business model is the key for success. Business model articulates the logic, provides the data, and other evidences that helps a business to create, capture, and deliver values to customers. Nowadays, manufacturing is termed as value-facturing, where we have to create value. We are in the exciting world today, and things are changing rapidly. Enormous opportunities are available, but one has to reap the benefits out of exploiting those opportunities. One has to anticipate the change. One has to exploit the change. And if we are not lead the change, nothing will happen. Everybody has talked China, Germany, I will talk India. Innovative India, double I. We have to create innovative India. It is responsibility of all of us who are sitting here. We have to create environment for getting more and more innovation in our industries. There is no stall available in the market where you can buy innovation. There is no center for getting the innovation in terms of kg or liters. We have to create. Most of the nations who are leading or commanding the leadership position in the world today, they have acquired knowledge through process of innovation. We are in the 21st century, and this century is the century of knowledge. If we are not able to create innovation, we cannot capture knowledge, we cannot convert knowledge, and ultimately we will be lagging behind other countries. So we have to see globally, but we have to act locally. This is very, very important. Jugaad, the era of Jugaad has gone, because in technical way we can say it is the fixing of problems. But we have to go for the proactive actions. When we want the continual improvement in the systems, we have to go for the proactive actions, preventive actions, not the Jugaad theory. Now, I will present some glimpses of our company, how we have designed our business model, and how it has helped lot in the time of turmoil and again at the time of rapid growth, which we will show through the presentation. We are a high flagship company under the CK Birla Group, enjoying $2 billion business. Our presence at 4 locations in India, our mother plant at Jaipur, the other plant, second plant at Manesar, the third plant at Nevai, and fourth plant under commissioning at Balodra. These are our landmarks history. Company established in 1946. In 82, there was technical collaboration with Branco, USA for cartridge tapered roller bearing. In 85, the technical collaboration with Antian, Japan. In 95, we were forced to get ISO 9001 certification due to the market situations. Then 97, technical collaboration. Then Deming Award in 2010. Before that, we got TPM certifications and ECMA Award for Manufacturing Excellency in 2012. And in 2014, we are trying for Deming Grand Award. This is the next version, next award after Deming, which we got in 2010. These are figures of success we captured in our cap of an NEIL. As explained, in 2008, we got TPM certifications. In 2010, we got Deming Award. In 2011, GVDP Green Supply Chain Award. And in 2012, we got ECMA Award. Our unique values are relevancy in our supply. We are more reliable, we are resourceful, and with these three we are able to demonstrate our product with flexible solutions to market. We are all sitting here, we are engineers, we know the formula, and formula fits in our mind very quickly. I have used one word, that is value factoring. Now, what is value? And how this value is derived from quality, cost, delivery, development, management responses, and technology. So, this is the value matrices. We can see very well, we can understand how to derive value, how to create value. When we are improving quality, the value is directly proportional to quality, so value will be improved. When we improve service, the value will be improved. When we decrease cost, reduce cost, the value will be enhanced. And time is very, very important. When we reduce time in terms of cycle time, throughput time, lead time, we are going to increase the value. So, whole world, all industries are hinged to this value matrix. If we are able to improve quality, able to improve service, then we are able to improve value. And if we are reducing cost of manufacturing, reducing time, lead time or throughput time, we are enhancing value. In the changing scenario, change is very, very constant now. The person, the organization, and any systems which are facing the change, leading the change, will survive and succeed. So, in the changing scenario, we have to adjust the value propositions. If we are not adjusting value proposition, then our failure is certain. So, standing still is the fastest way to go backwards. Innovation is required to sustain in market with changing scenario and new threats. This is the success story of company NEI, how before 90 we were enjoying the monopolistic markets. We used to get premium from customers, but after economic liberalization, the scenario was changed and company was compelled to change the business model. This is the 91, after 91, after economic liberalization, you can see the change, innovation in business model and adoption of adoption of new strategy to have robust quality management systems, then the TPM certifications, Deming Awards, then the demand of reliability came from the customers, so have the highest quality. And now, in the recent scenario, the demand of value enrichment is coming. What is value enrichment? It is nothing but it is highest quality with lowest cost. So, I prefer that we should opt the quality of Germany, we should opt low cost leadership of China. Combination of these will give you the survival in the industries. We can success with these two concepts, but in one word, that is value enrichment. This is the business model of NEI. At center, we see the value propositions from different segments. There are 8 segments of this canvas of business model. We have key suppliers, key activities, key resources, cost structure, customer relationship, customer segments, distribution channel, revenue streams. These are 8 elements of canvas of business model. Everywhere we have to perform. When we design business model, we see that value creation, value capturing, and value delivering. Proposition of values should be there because these are performances in these 8 elements, 8 elements of the canvas of the business model. Performance is our objective and business is our results. Business model, ultimately, it is for business. Value proposition to supplier through these methods, we are respecting suppliers. We sharing good practices. We celebrate annual supplier meet. In which we have customer participations where they share views and what role we have to play in the changing scenario. That gives confidence in the customer. Then we provide financial aid and technical supports as and when required to our partners, appraising and providing high shares and we appraise them, we reward them. This gives motivation among the partners. And ultimately, capability enhancement is one of the major area for us, because our quality is dependent on suppliers' quality, partners' quality. So basically 30% dominations are there, and that's why it is very important to enhance the capability of suppliers. So these are methods basically to enhance the value proposition to suppliers. Our suppliers play key role in enhancing low-cost leadership. These are our products. As we are producing bearing, the catching lines here, innovation, setting the wheels in motion. We are setting the wheels in motion by providing bearings to the vehicle. Basically, we are setting the wheel, we are setting the wheels in motion of the nation by providing the bearings, as we are bearing manufacturing company. With in an innovative way, with sustained strength, we are able to demonstrate our products to our customers, and ultimately it is nothing but it is giving motion to nation. This is our roadmap to achieve world-class excellency, because for searching new land, we have to have the new roadmap, and without a new map, we cannot search new land. So ultimately, it is the journey, milestones for world-class excellency. These are the practical tools we have invented in our systems, like run charts, then the work instruction, it is very innovative with key points. Then reaction placement, fault-wise, it is a physical Pareto on the shop floor. Then the first piece, okay, for a shift, and all information at one piece of paper, which is acting as end-on visual for the operators. These are the practical tools we have given to shop floor, to the process, for management of process, for maintaining the process, for controlling the process. These are very effective tools, and it gives robustness in the process. We believe in process. If process is robust, if process is reliable, then we can give the reliable product to customer. This is ultimately the value addition. So we have to keep the process condition at the maturity level by utilizing these practical tools, innovative tools. As we are Deming Award winner company, our basic working is based on DWM, daily work management. So basically, categorically we have three functions: maintenance function, improvement functions, and development functions. So the maintenance function is SDC, sustain, do, check, and actions. And improvement function is planning, do, check, actions. Combination of these two simultaneously is the philosophy of continual improvements. We believe in incremental innovation. Ultimately, that will lead to the radical innovation. So Kaizens are going on, and it is the value capturing activities. So initially I have explained the business model. What is business model? It is the creation of value, capturing value, and delivering value to customers. If we are capturing value, converting it into actions, creations, and then we are delivering to customers, ultimately it is the basic aim of organizations. As I have explained, I am author of this book, Panchas. When we implemented in the organizations, there was one slogan, came from the workforce. 5S Japan ka, Panchas Hindustan. We should have some philosophy which have flavor of soil. There should be acceptance by people. It is in-house development methodology. It is my, after journey of 30 years, I found that there is no, everybody is talking about motivation. But how to motivate people? How to create desire in the people? We have thought that the first thing we have to create desire. Swechha. Panchas is comprised of 5 S, starting with 5 words starting with so. Swechha, Sadbhav, Sahbhagita, Samanvay or Sankalp. These are very logical, systematic. We have implemented and we have seen that you can do miracle in the organizations because it is the ultimately attacking on the human side quality. It is basically the human side quality enhancement program. And it gives desire among the people. Ultimately, it is converting to drive, and then we develop concepts, innovating. In a lot of innovation come, and then it is being converted into actions. We demonstrate them. So ultimately, we are working on 4D: desire, drive, develop, and demonstrate. Capturing value through Kaizens. Ultimately, we have started journey from hard working to smart working. In customer relationships, we have started online grievance portal. It is the connectivity with the customers. It is helping a lot in getting the information regarding any problems, and resolution is very quick. So under sales capability augmentation and leadership excellence program, we have started these 2 activities, online grievance portal and the CAM, that is the focus group. These are our customer segments: two-wheelers, car, tractors. These are the global footprints. We have grown in the area of segment of export up to 14% within 2 years. And our plan is to grow by 20% by 2015. This is world-class facility we have, R&D. 11 patents filed last year. We are proud of this innovative things. We are partnering with customers for design. We have research in advanced manufacturing and tribology. Prototype lab we have, and in-house bearing testing center we have developed. These are the softwares. This is the manufacturing facilities we have. Focused branding at distribution channels. This is the low-cost leadership. This is our major strength, because when we say value enrichment, it is the highest quality with low costs, lowest costs. So these are the methods to achieve the low-cost leaderships by improving process optimization, process reengineering, continual improvements in operating efficiency, product innovation, supply chain power, exploration of experience curve. Ultimately, value proposition to the employee value propositions and the customer value proposition. Without attaining employee value proposition, it is not possible to have customer value proposition. So employee is very, very important. We have lean initiatives, market augmentation as a scale project, punches for employee motivation, and employee value propositions and quality circles. 131 quality circles we have. This is the shaving and idea generations from the PACE program. These are the idea generation, about 334 value added ideas generated, where we have captured value added idea, which helped lot in saving. Significant saving we have made for EBITDA. This is the NPD development, how we have improved the development by reducing the NPD time. This is the revenue stream. Because, from common platform, we are addressing all segment of customers with variable requirements. This is our turnover, vertical growth, which is self-evident how we are moving with the effective business model. Growth of major players in domestic markets, we have grown by 7.9%, whereas our competitors have degrown. This is again the indicator of effective business model we have. In export market, we have grown by 67.1% compared to last year. And this is again the indicator of the effectiveness of business model. The economic value of a technology remains latent until it is commercialized in some way via a business model. Companies must adopt an effectual attitude toward business model experimentation. Business model innovation is more challenging than product or process innovation. Business model is dynamic. You see, the needle is indicating we have to change our thoughts. Let us have a courage. We have to trace a path. We have to trace a path of innovation on the globe of India, and we will be winner. Business model is dynamic, it is not static. Please have courage to do the things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jha, for taking us through the best practices in your organization. I think what is key here is the 8 blocks that he had explained to us and how innovation can happen in each of the 8 blocks. He concluded with a slide, with the last slide, saying the economic value of technology remains latent until it is commercialized. In a way, he has led us to the next topic, which looks at how to augment technology, how can we leverage technology to innovate better. Speaking on this, we have with us a mechanical engineer who holds a postgraduate certificate in operations and management from a city close by, Gurgaon. Being a part of Satyam IES and Maruti Suzuki as a part of core manufacturing engineering group, and somebody who is responsible for leading pan-India initiatives for manufacturing control, automation, and MES solutions to be specific in Tata Technologies. Please join me in inviting Mr. Manish Saxena, the Country Manager of Global Services, India.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Ashram.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, sir, for the insightful thoughts. I will start with the same slide of time for change, where we left, right? If you can look, there's a time for change. So I will basically focus on some of the thoughts on how to basically augment technology with innovation, right? So that's the next wave that we feel. Now, innovation, as one of the definitions says, are ideas that are applied by the company in order to further satisfy the needs and expectations of the customer. So these are the day-to-day ideas that keep generating in the organization, right? That lead the innovation. Now, our endeavor as Tata Technologies, or as a service provider to, or an enabler to this manufacturing industry, is to basically augment these things, integrate these things, and basically make that as part of the change management. I'm sure everybody agrees with these manufacturing challenges of cost, time, increasing complexity, increasing variability. You have, I was just talking to Mr. Kaspikar that they sold so many bikes on a Dhanteras day. So those kind of variabilities, global quality benchmarking, expectations from export markets, regulations, then improving and optimization manufacturing efficiency or the lean umbrella, right? And most importantly, the skill, managing the skill of the workmen and the motivation, right? If you look at the normal PDCA cycle, I will just do an analogy on the PDCA cycle. On basically the process and the product and the process development part. We have tools today. I mean, as a service provider, we see two things which are adding, where we can support the manufacturing organizations in terms of planning their new facility or basically improving their facility and managing their facility on a day-to-day thing, right? So we have softwares today which basically talk of digital simulation, as Mr. Datta covered in the first half. Similar type of suits are available for digital simulation and digital manufacturing, where we can virtually kind of validate all the possibilities, all the options that we'll be facing when we set up a plant, right? So that it is most efficient and delivers the desired results, right? So these are the digital simulation tools. Then do is basically what you do every day. If you do things every day, then these tools help you to basically have a real-time monitoring or catching the pulse of your manufacturing operations, having a control on your manufacturing operations. I'll dwell more on these later. And then once you get all the data that these are real-time event-based tools. So once we have this real-time, any product which is produced and the whole systems get updated so that you have a real-time snapshot of your manufacturing operations. Once you have this data, what do you do with this data? You can do the root cause analysis. You can basically analyze the data. You can have dashboards. You can do a what-if analysis. Then when you learn what's going wrong or how we can improve, you again do the plan, right? Again do the improvements. So these tools help you or enable you through technology to basically improve and innovate. I'll call these as, the suits are called digital manufacturing and simulation, and the below manufacturing cycle are called the MES solutions. Here I would like to show one of the videos of an automobile plant through our partners Dassault Systems with the Delmia range of solutions.
The Delmia Final Assembly 3D validation solution for the transportation and mobility industry delivers a 3D experience for simulation engineers to validate, optimize, and review assembly processes, including ergonomics for critical stations and workplaces. Balanced assembly lines can be reviewed and optimized in a 3D context to visualize the manufacturing environment and assembly sequences. Manual or automated tasks can be validated with associated 3D resources. By introducing ergonomics analysis early in the design process, the creation and reuse of human interfaces and skills definition can be leveraged to lower the cost of work-related injuries. The 3D experience environment makes it easy to perform detailed feasibility studies and helps to improve communication between all workers on the final assembly line. Automated devices can be quickly and effectively simulated, including remote handling equipment, to increase assembly line quality and efficiency. Delmia's Final Assembly 3D validation strengthens the connection between manufacturers' design philosophies and global assembly operations, resulting in reduced costs and increased quality.
So that was one application where man, material, methods, and basically the machines are digitally validated in a virtual world where before even a brick is laid at a new plant. So I'll put on this slide again. If you plan well, half of the battle is won, right? Then you execute well and you achieve the value, right? You basically, you heard about the ergonomics, right? Even heavy tires, if you're able to see how much load that person can carry and doing it repetitively, say 200 times a day, right? How will that happen, right? Does he need a manipulator or some ergonomic device to do that, right? This slide, most of you must have seen. Basically what it says is that cost of change, this is a development process. Cost of change, if we are able to move the validation part early in the development cycle, right? The x-axis has the time scale. Then the cost of change is less because that's being designed, that's concurrent engineering. And opportunities for change are also more. Once the product is finalized, the opportunities for change decreases substantially and the cost for change increases, right? So moving into the virtual validation phase definitely adds value. You are able to reduce your cost, development cost, and you're able to reduce your SOP time frame, right? So that was all about digital simulation and virtual validation. There are n number of applications where you can use digital simulation tools in order to increase the value of your manufacturing engineering or the ultimate result, which is the manufacturing. Now I'll come to MES solutions, the other part, which is the execution part. Throughout the presentation, I'm hearing that we need data. To analyze data, we need to have authentic data, we need to have facts, right? Those will basically enable us to take the right decisions. Now, if you look at, improvement is possible only if you can control. If you can control, if you can measure. And if you don't measure, you cannot improve it. So improve, control, and measure are the three things that are interlinked. MES solutions, what are MES solutions? MES solutions are basically technology solutions. We are so used to our phones and our digital gadgets. But this is the same thing that is happening in the shop floor also. These are basically digital or the electronic or the control tools which are added to the machines or the manufacturing environment, making them talk to the business, right? The business layer is SAP. The ground layer is SCADA and the PLC layer. This is the middleware that enables them to talk to each other, right? If you look at these words, these are very powerful words. Integrate. MES, what it does, it integrates all your manufacturing operations into a middleware so that you can take decisions on that. Visible insight, it provides you a visible insight. What's happening in your shop floor? What is the overall equipment efficiency of your shop floor? How many number of defects were generated in a particular hour? How much was produced in a particular hour? How much was the target in a particular hour? Single source of truth, this is very important. I come from a manufacturing background, and I know that we used to study, before the implementation of technology solutions, we used to study the reports on the next day, manufacturing reports on the next day. That means we were doing a post-mortem analysis. Now what's happening is, and there were blame games in order to basically, if you are not defending yourself, you are guilty, right? So this is what happens in a typical manufacturing environment. I'm sure many experts are sitting and watching me speak. So this is what happens. So single source of truth means that you have a single platform or a dashboard which everybody can see every time and take necessary countermeasure at the same time, so that there are no two reports that you have to kind of make or generate. These reports basically are available at a touch of a button, right? Every time you press a button or every time a product is made. MES enables a single truth across the organizations. Pokayoke, all these improvement initiatives, if they are isolated, one day they will switch off if somebody does not actually check whether they are working or not. They will die off, and again the same problem will come again. MES integrates all these improvement initiatives. It converts your ideas, your innovation ideas, into practical solutions. Who's watching? It's like a camera on your shop floor, basically. Operator, if you see accountability, which is the operator? When did the production take place? All the data are captured for a traceability or a genealogy kind of thing, right? Who's watching? So the system is watching you. The operator is aware that the system is watching. It can be taken in a negative connotation also, that somebody is watching me, right? But on the positive side, he is safe because he is doing his work and he is taking the necessary countermeasure at the right time. He is safe. That is improving his motivation. Nobody is blaming him for what he might have done or something that he never did, right? Now, facts. If you look at facts, the decisions that a shop floor manager has to take should be based on facts. This system basically helps you generate facts, right? Your decisions are informed decisions. How much is the inventory? When is this? Where is the schedule? How much you have to produce? Where is the capacity available? Everything is shown through these systems. As I said, these are real-time event-based systems. Just a product is made and the system gets updated. Even your business systems like SAP gets updated. The order gets updated, that how much is being produced against that order, right? These are data acquisition